Hi, I'm EXO, and this video is about a unique subset of games called the BBS Door Game. Now, BBS is a term you may come across, especially when talking about computing in the 80s and early to mid 90s. It stood for Bulletin Board System. They were not just for IBM, there was Commodore BBSs, there were Amiga BBSs. The idea was you would log in through your phone line using a modem. The really fancy ones had more than one phone line, so you could simultaneously be on there with someone else. And depending on the bulletin board software that they were running, you could even chat with the other person who was logged in. Now, people use them for all different things. There were message boards, and think about like an internet forum, but where only one user of the forum can be logged in, or maybe two at a time. So communication was fairly slow. Now, I will preface that by saying there were a handful of paid bulletin board systems in my city, the Dallas area, and I know there were other ones in the United States too, and probably overseas, where because you were paying for them, they had like 8 phone lines, 16 phone lines, so you had a lot more activity. I was a poor 12-year-old, so I did not have any memberships to a paid bulletin board system at the time. I did, like many other people, start my own bulletin board, and it was whenever, family wasn't using the phone, I would turn it on, but it was mainly my friends logging in. As a budding preservationist at that time, I mainly spent my time downloading games to try to find to play. I had a AT&T 6300. It was monochromatic, very limited in scope. So anything I could find to play on it was awesome. It had a 10 megabyte hard drive with about 7 megs free after I took away all my OS stuff. So Pocket games, especially the shareware games you get from Apogee, those were game changing for me at that age to find. But my other favorite thing to do when I was online was to play a bulletin board door game. They called them door games. I don't know where the term door specifically came from, but I do know that when you set up a BBS, you would set which door the app was on. And what that did was it allowed the bulletin board to pass along the information about the user, their type of connection, their ranking, how many minutes they had available to them, to the game. And so the door in this case was the portal that allowed the game to talk to the bulletin board host software. And then in turn, the bulletin board could be informed by the game, hey, they've already played their turn today, or they have to wait X amount of time, or they still have time left to let them back in. The door games that are included with eXoDOS are currently not set up in multiplayer environments. That would require either using some type of modem situation or telnet. That's something that is not easy to do or portable to do. So in this case, what I've done is set up these games in sysop mode. The sysop, S-Y-S-O-P, stood for system operator. And in general, this was the person who owned, maintained, and ran the BBS. So sysop mode would allow them to play the game from their local computer. Since they were not logged in through a phone line, the door couldn't have information passed to it the same way. So in this case, it got a local mode passed over to it. Now, one of the most famous of all the door games at the time would have been Legend of the Red Dragon. And let's see, there it is right there, Lord. We'll go ahead and install that guy and jump into it. There is a config utility that you have to run, I believe, the first time. Let's try playing it without doing that. Call ourselves the sysop. Legend of the Red Dragon. So what we have here right now would be ANSI graphics, ANSI. I never had color versions growing up. I always had, because of my monochromatic screen. So seeing colored ANSI door games was kind of a mind blow for me the first time I saw it. We do have Legend of the Red Dragon registered, which is kind of cool. That allows you to set it up any way you want, and you're not limited to how many turns you can play or how you can edit the game. When you enter the realm, it says you want to join. We click yes. We'll go. I'm going to call myself EXO. That'll work. I am male. Now, this is your class. Do we kill a lot of willing creatures? Do we have some magic? Or do we lie, cheat, and steal? So I think we're looking at a barbarian, a sorcerer, and a thief. We'll go barbarian for this. The Death Knights is what they're called. Always sounded so cool. We get an extra Death Knight use point. So every day when you logged in, you'd have a different like spirit level, and if you were in high spirits, you would have more energy, higher luck. We currently have a stick, and we are in town. The daily happenings. If you're playing online, it'll show so and so killed so and so dueled and lost to so and so. We are in the street. And at this point, we're going to head over. We really don't have a lot to do right now because we don't have any money. So we're going to go to the forest where you can fight the bad guys. Oh, a weird event. All right, that's crazy. The first time we go to the forest, we get a weird event. These were random events, and they could bless you or hurt you. And we're about to give up, and we find a gem. Gems are pretty cool. You can do some really fun stuff with them. They're like a special currency before microtransactions. We're in the forest. We're going to look for something to kill. Oh, well, we found a party. And we partied. And we're refreshed, even though we were not hurt. Let's try again. Ah, the evil wretch. We have 20 hit points. She's got 12. We will attack her. Hit her for 8. She hit us for 4. We'll do it again. We killed her. We got some gold. We got some experience. Let's go ahead and go heal. We're so weak right now. We're going to look for someone else to kill. A large mosquito! Dead. Now, one cool thing about this game is when you configure it, you can change the names of the bad guys, you can change the names of the weapons, the armor. There are also some really cool modules available for it, specifically the online version. If you Google Legend of the Red Dragon, you can find active servers that you can log into through your browser and play this on. There's tattoo shops, there's potion making, there's mounts. It's really crazy how much stuff you can do in these games. Generally, so you can see I have 13 fights left. So I'm going to look again. I found a thief. Dead. I'm going to look again. An old man. Dead. I'm on a roll here. An evil wretch again. Dead. Ooh, a light from a chimney. The Dark Cloak Tavern. Cool. So this was a hidden tavern in the game. Total chance to stumble across it. You could leave etchings on the table, which are messages for other users. The bartender could give you information. You could change your job. Change your color, which is pretty cool. So these are the codes for colors, and they would teach you this kind of stuff. So until you found the tavern, you wouldn't know that putting like an apostrophe in front of a number would change your coloring. So when you first logged in, if you had a color screen and you went to the message board in the main tavern, you saw all the noobs talking in basic green, and then these more elite players had super colorful text. I remember playing this game for months without finding the Dark Tavern. Pretty neat that we found it on the first try. What else can we do here? Let's talk with the bartender about... Oh, we can practice the art of color too. That's enough for that. You can gamble here. We'll return to the forest. We're going to look for someone to kill. We are refreshed again. The ugly old hag again. She's dead again. Let's look. A large mosquito. Boom. Now, we're going to go ahead and return to town. And at this point, let's go over to Turgon's warrior training. And we're going to question the master. So with 79 more experience, we would be as good as our master. So let's go back out to the forest real quick here. We'll get a little screen. We're going to look. Kill that old man. We just got 4 experience. I don't think we're going to get it in time on this round. And that makes sense. You'd have to play a day or two to completely 500 gold. Now with that, let's go check over in town here. Let's go to King Arthur's weapons. Right now we have a stick. Let's sell that stick for 100 gold. Yeah, it's gone. Great. Now we're going to buy something. I hope we have 1,000 gold. We do. So we're going to go and buy the dagger. Well, we've upgraded 1. Yep. Now, before we head out of there, I'll show you again. This can go for a while. We're dealing with, weapons 1 and 2. The Death Sword is $400 million. Okay, that's big money. I remember playing for several months and maybe getting to huge axe and bone cruncher territory here. Yeah, I got a bone cruncher on my own. I think in one game I got 2 twin swords. Now the armor is going to be, excuse me, the exact same situation in that we're not going to have enough for armor right now, I don't believe. We only have, yeah, we're not going to have 1,000 for that heavy coat because you get half your money back whenever you sell something. I'm still getting so many achievements tonight, and I'm not even playing games. It's amazing to me. At the inn, you could do one of my favorite games. You could converse with the patrons. You could get a room. You can listen to Seth Abel the Bard. Seth Abel was the guy who made the game, actually. So we're going to listen to him. We're going to ask him to sing. And you never... Oh, we got an extra user battle. So you could challenge users to battle. So depending what song he sang, you would get a benefit. You could also flirt with Violet, the barmaiden. In this case, as a noob, if we do anything more than wink, we'll probably get slapped, thrown out, beaten up. Who knows? So we'll just wink at her. And we got 5 experience. It made her happy. Eventually, you can marry her, and if you carry her upstairs, it will tell the whole server you did that. And I remember quite a few fights breaking out because someone would get mad that Violet had gone off with someone else. So we're going to return back to the town here. You can make announcements. You could go to the conjugality list. No one is married. So if you want to know who's married, you could check that list for you. People online, unfortunately, it was just me, and I arrived at 9:48. We're going to go ahead and quit to the fields. I'll quit the game. If I wanted to play again, I would still have 6 fights left, and I would have to wait until midnight of that night, and the game would reset and give me my 15 fights back. Now, as the sysop, you could go in and modify that to more fights. However, part of that game was, the fun of it was making people work towards it over time. I remember paid BBS is offering like 50 fights to people, which definitely gave you a lot more time to play every day. But it also allowed people to level up much quicker, which kind of took part of the fun away. As a kid, I looked forward to my extra turns every day so much. If I was up late, I would time it so I could log in like 11:45, play my 15 turns, log out, it would be midnight, log right back in, play 15 more turns. So I would get 30 turns back to back when I did that. And then it was a big bummer because I had already played my turns at 12 a.m. And now when I woke up later that day or got home from school, sorry, my turns were already used, so I'd still have to wait until the next day. So the benefit was I got to do it all back to back. The negative was I clearly had to wait much longer. Now there were door games for everything. There was let's see here. There was a fishing door game. You would go around and try to catch the biggest fish, and you'd have different lures. Global War was like Risk. One that I played quite often when I was back then, let's see here, it said Trade Wars 2022. This one you flew around, you traded commodities. There's actually some that may be missing. Solar Realms Elite and Barren Realms Elite. These were amazing games. They were strategy games. Now let's go ahead and fire it up here. Install that. So this one we had to actually put a booter in. We're going to go ahead and visit the galaxy. We'll join the game. Create our name. Emperor Exo. Now, I'm going to go in without a... Wow. So, it was 25 players per game. If you had enough BBS users, you would have multiple games going. We will call this Empire eXoDOS, if I can spell right. And use capital right. I'm not off to a good start here with this game. Now, we have an Empire. We have a Galaxy menu. We're going to go ahead and hit play. Right off the bat, you can pick what kind of treaties you want to have. I'm going to go with a... I don't think there's anyone playing the game. It's just me right now. So I don't know that any of this makes a difference. Yeah, there's no empires for me to do this with. We'll skip that. Pick 5 lottery. I'm not going to do a lottery ticket. I will not buy a super daily lottery ticket. So we have grown food. We've produced 1 cruiser. We have mined some credits. We've got some tourist attractions. And then we have trade taxes on urban planets. Now, Here on eXoDOS, we have some bills to pay. We're going to have to pay $27,000 in bills. We have 20 turns of protection, so this was a way to keep new people safe. And we have 4 turns left today. So just like over on the number of fights we had in Legend of the Red Dragon, here we have a limited number of turns. We have to buy food. We have 53 megatons of it. I'm going to go ahead and go without that. We're going to give them 15 megatons. Now, we can take out loans, and we don't need any of that stuff. Move on. Government spending. Now, at this point, we can buy soldiers and fighters and generals. You're going to build up all these things, and you're going to send them out, and you're going to attack other planets. Empires are going to spread out. You then are eventually going to come into conflict with these empires, and it's all text-based. These games could go on for months and months and months, and it was a huge deal if you died, because you had months of time put into these empires you were building. A big part of them that I loved was the random events, because you didn't know. I could play Legend of the Red Dragon for months and I'd find something new in it. And other than just wanting to level up and the competition involved in playing against other people, the element of discovery for me was huge, which is to this day why I enjoy games like Skyrim or like Fallout 3 and 4. And the older ones are great too, but 3 and 4 really push the idea of exploration in the world. Seventh Day, Legend of the Red Dragon 2. I didn't have a lot of experience with Legend of the Red Dragon 2. I never played that one. There are some games I'm not seeing here, though, that I need to look into. Betrayal of the Obsidian Baboon. I can't imagine what inspired that game. Don't Wake the Sysop. The idea of that one was you would make noises and beeps, and the more obnoxious you were, the more points you got. However, if the Sysop heard these things and walked in and hit a button, you got caught. You got booted off for the day. So a funny idea, but I don't know any sane Sysop who would want that installed on their computer with people paging them, beeping at them. The Eternal Adventure. These games were eventually replaced by games like MUDs, multi-user dungeons. You had something like the Imagination Network by Sierra, which allowed people to dial in and have graphics-based games and play with each other and against each other and socialize and chat. The limitation of the BBS games was they were generally designed for turn-based one player at a time, but that's also what makes them unique and fun. It makes them different. There is no real-time combat taking place here. If you left your game in Legend of the Red Dragon and did not check yourself into the end, then you were standing around or sleeping outside, someone could attack you. And they would attack you. Unless you were the biggest, baddest guy on the server, there's a good chance you're getting taken out. Now, even if you paid money for the inn, someone who had enough money could try to bribe the barkeep to give you a key to the room and sneak in and attack you in your sleep. They had a lot more to lose, though, if that happened. These games are difficult to present in the way that they were initially released. But the idea with eXoDOS has been to still preserve them, present them, and as best we can, make it so you can go in and play that. Even if it's single player, you can get a feel for what it was like. Nothing can replace the idea of logging in and playing Legend of the Red Dragon against other people. I can't ever get that back without setting it up on a telnet and trying to find active people that want to play and will continue playing over a long amount of time. And as I've become an adult, that's always been the challenge. It's not... I can find really cool board games to play, and I can find tons of console games to play. But the ones that with it used to be, if you said LAN party in the 90s, you had 10 people at your house that night. And someone was ordering pizza and someone had brought drinks and you're having fun. If I say LAN party today, then most people don't know what I'm talking about. Or it's like, yeah, meet me on online. I'll be playing Call of Duty later on, or whatever. Pick your poison that happens to be your thing. It's fun. Believe me, I'm not knocking it. The same way I used to love playing Halo in local mode. But something about a LAN party, playing with people that you know and everyone you know. The idea of a door game goes even beyond, like earlier than that, in terms of These were people that were dialing in. They were local to you for the most part, because it would have been long distance charges if you called in to an area code outside of your vicinity. You would get to know these people. You would get to hate certain users because they always killed you and attacked you. And you would get to like other people, and get to know them and talk to them. This is silly, but my first date I ever went on was a girl I met on a bulletin board, which is about as nerdy as you can get, I think. We met and we talked. We realized we were both about the same age. We were both 13 at the time. And I asked her out and she said yes. And my mom drove me and dropped me off at the mall. And her mom, no, we had to pick her up and take her. So my mom picked her up on the way. And, it's a different time. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I would not allow her to meet a boy online and just drop him off at the mall together for the day. Not without some serious vetting first. I don't know that my mom even asked me how I met her, and I doubt her mother asked her how she met me. It was like, oh, your friend from school, I'm assuming. This is 1993. I was born in 79. And so in 93, I don't know that my parents knew what a bulletin board was, let alone the fact that I was logging into them and I was talking to people and I was interacting with people. But at the same time, while I'm sure there were some predator types out there, they were not. Most people that were online and everyone that I ever dealt with online were kind. They were intelligent for the most part, maybe socially awkward, but everyone was just having fun. They were looking to socialize. The bulletin boards allowed people that had been living fairly introverted and solitary hobbies on their computer to suddenly be social. And for a lot of folks, and this is true today too, being social doesn't come firsthand. It is something that can be draining. It can be difficult. So to be able to do it from behind a computer, the same way we can do it from our cell phone now, or through an app, that was brand new back then. This could have been the first time several of these folks really did interact with folks that were outside of their immediate family or coworkers. The door games were a way to create a socially engineered experience between multiple people. They are an important part of the history of early personal computing. And I look forward to finding more of them to include in here. There are some that we have not included because we could not find a way to make them work, or I couldn't find a way to make them work in local mode. There was one about mutants I didn't see on my own list. You would walk around through a wasteland. It was a lot like Legend of the Red Dragon, but it was more of like a Fallout style game. So more sci-fi, more in space, but you wandered, you had so many fights per day, you found weapons. It definitely wasn't unique by any means compared to Lord, but it was just a different background. And so since my Lord turns would be over for the day, I had found that game, and so of course. And it got to a point where you would log in to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bulletin boards every day to play your turns. So it kept people coming back. As a sysop, it was a way to keep people logging in. Now, unless you had a paid bulletin board, there wasn't a lot of benefit having people log in other than bragging rights. And with a lot of things back then, that's all you needed. It was, if you had a good bulletin board system, you got shareware before anybody else. If there was a wares section, and that was where I heard the word wares for the first time. Wares being code for registered software that should not be distributed online. And usually those were hidden. They were for people that had donated money, or friends of the sysop, or maybe if you'd been around long enough, you could build your user level up, you would get access to it. So that was a big part of it too, was trying to find which bulletin boards had wares and which ones didn't. And once they had wares, it was like, it felt so, it was exciting and scary at the same time to be that age and log in and be like, oh my gosh, there's King's Quest 3 and I can download it and I can play it. Oh my gosh, this is a game that was $50, $60. I think it was $59.99 in the Sierra catalog last I checked when it came out, which in today's money is like $157, $160 some odd dollars. Maybe closer to $180 actually. So to be able to play that for free, that felt scary, but exciting at the same time. I hope that my passion for bulletin board systems has come through in this. It is a huge part of my youth and what I enjoyed. And I would play every bulletin board game I could find because it was something to do with people that I enjoyed spending time with. Even though I didn't know them in person, you would get to know their screen names. And when you saw that they had logged in last, I gotta go see what they did in the game. And you log in and check the log and see, did they beat anybody? Did they beat a new boss? Did they get to a new level? That was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have as much fun exploring these games as I used to have playing them. Thank you.